Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kadija and today we are making samosa. However, we are going to be making it with Beyond Beef. It is a plant-based beef and this is going to be a first for me. I have had the burgers and they were so delicious, but I have not had it in samosa. Now, it was not cheap. This was $8.99 and it's 16 ounces. I'm going to make this from scratch. I've already made the dough. It's just regular dough, and I'll show a clip of how I made it. And I'm going to make the samosa just like I normally make it. I'm using orange sweet peppers just because they are what I have in the fridge. Otherwise, everything else is the same as usual. I hope you guys will enjoy this dish, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so. Hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified when I post my next video, and let's make some samosa together. So the samosa wrapper recipe is very simple. Salt, water, and all-purpose flour is all you need for this particular one. The key thing is to let your dough rest anywhere between an hour to 3 hours. When I made this recipe, I made the dough around 11 a.m. and I didn't come back to make the wraps until around 4 or 5 p.m. just because I had a busy day that day. So the way I like to do this is to section the dough into enough parts to give me 3 layers in every stack I roll out. I start by coating all the dough balls with flour, and then I hand press them until they become flat. You don't have to hand press them until they become flat, you can just simply roll them out. But the most important part is to roll everything out the same time, just like this. You flatten them all out the same time so that they will get a chance to rest before you come back and work on them again. This takes patience, and you want your dough to be pliable and easy to work with. Once you start stacking up your layers, make sure to put oil on the inside layers, not the outside, just the inside layers, so that you will be able to separate the layers from each other once you have cooked them. So as you can see, I made my first stack, let it rest on the side, and then I made the other 2 stacks, and then I came back to my first stack and I rolled it out. And I made a mistake here. I rolled it out way too much. I stretched it and I rolled it out to where it became too thin for me to later separate it without ripping the dough. Also, I didn't have a pizza cutter, but if you have a pizza cutter, use it rather than using the knife, because the counter will dull out your knife. This is other than you scratching your counter. Let's talk about cook time. This is very important. You're going to cook the wrappers until you start seeing a change in color, and that takes about 5 seconds, and then you'll flip it to the other side. Remember, you're making samosa wrappers. You are not making bread. Don't cook it all the way through. Once you flip it over, you're going to start noticing that the edges will start curling up, and that's when you flip it again. And then you'll notice that your wrappers will start to bubble and air pockets will start to form. Don't cook it all the way through. The only reason you see brown spots on some of these wrappers is because I was also trying to make sure to get good shots and retake some of my shots while I was also cooking. So once you take your wrappers off the stove, if I wasn't filming, I would separate them right on the spot while the next one is cooking. But because I was filming, I put everything on one plate and covered it with a towel. And then once I finished making all of them, I went through and I separated everything. And as you can see, I struggled because I stretched them and rolled them out way too thin. But please don't let this intimidate you. You just need to take your time and don't roll them out too thin. And if you think this is too hard to make, it's alright. You can use the egg roll wrappers. They will work the same way, although they won't have the same flavor, but they will serve the same purpose. So for the filling, I took the same ingredients I would use for ground beef filling and mimicked it here. The only difference is I used orange peppers instead of green peppers because that's what I had available. And I used a little more spices than I normally would because they used beet juice for coloring, and I'm not a big fan of beet juice. So I thought if I add more spices, I won't be able to taste it. And actually it turned out fine. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. To seal the wrappers, I am making my own glue, and it's simple to make. You just use all-purpose flour, the same flour you use to make your dough, mix it with water, and use it to seal the samosas. One advantage of making your own glue is if you have imperfections in the dough, holes or cracks, you can seal those with the glue you just made. For this next step, I recommend using kitchen scissors because it'll be easier for you to cut the edges off, and we're cutting them because they are too thick, and to shape the wrapper into the shape you want. And we're trying to create a pocket. So we are going to cut the edges off, and then we will roll the outside corner of the bottom of the triangle and put your glue on. Cover it with the other corner, making sure that the tip of the triangle is tightly sealed so that when you're frying your samosa, not a lot of oil will get in. And you're also making sure that your filling will not leak out. Once the pocket is filled, we'll apply glue to the top flap and seal the samosa tightly. Making sure that the corners are again sealed well. Inspect the outside of the samosa, make sure that there are no cracks or holes, and if there are any, just use the glue to seal them. Repeat the process until you are done with all your wrappers. To fry or to cook this, you deep fry it in a fryer or use the air fryer. And for air fryers, just follow the instructions that came with your air fryer.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
And this is our final result. Here comes the moment of truth. I want to make sure, first of all, crunchy. It looks just like a samosa in the inside. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous because I do really want it to taste like samosa. It does not taste exactly like samosa, but it would pass for a samosa. Maybe. This is good. This is good. You can serve it with your favorite sauce. And by the way, those little strips we cut out, we didn't waste them. Just make your favorite sauce. And serve them. Very crunchy. Very good. I like it. This is good. I approve. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and click on that bell icon so that you will be notified when I post my next video. I hope you'll enjoy the samosa as much as I enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something new from me today. Thank you, and see you next time.